Chris? Is that you? Chris, seriously, stop fucking around.
Lying bitch.
This isn't funny, man.
Oh, face!
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
Alright, so there's a word that there's a 14-year-old girl, teenager, and her dad that are going to be putting together their own slasher film called The Carver.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly this little girl's a big fan, and more likely came to her dad for the idea, or they kind of just agreed on it. But either way, it's really cool. It's we had people on the not too long ago, an episode ago, that was talking about how women are not a very big part of horror films behind the scenes. So it's kind of cool for see a 14-year-old girl getting the chance to do it.
What's her name?
Emily DePrimo is her name.
Did they say like what influenced her to make a horror movie?
I didn't read anything with certain film. She's just been a fan. She likes slasher films.
See, at that age, I was not allowed to watch anything like that.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
I would sneak them.
Right.
And it would scare the living piss out of me, and then I wouldn't sleep. There was that girl about 8 years ago, Emily Higgins, who like decided randomly that she wanted to make a movie after watching Lord of the Rings, and she did this zombie movie called Pathogen. They made a documentary about it called Zombie Girl. Mm-hmm. We're all hearing about that and stuff. So, yeah, now she's like made like 6 movies. I mean, the one that came out maybe like a year or two ago was called My Sucky Teen Romance, and it was like a parody of vampire Twilight junk. And actually, I remember it got good reviews. It did like a premiere in Texas, and I remember it got great reviews. Like people all, they loved it. I still gotta find a copy of it somewhere and watch. But I mean, that's like the same kind of storyline. It's just like if you watch Lord of the Rings and she goes, "I want to make a movie," and her parents were all supportive, bought her computer and a camera, and
it's cool. No, I like seeing the parents not look at them and be like, "Okay, listen, like you're too young for that." Or,
see, that's the thing.
It's
is
just
you
like,
would think,
"Fuck it, let's do it."
I'm gonna do a zombie movie where people are dying and getting ripped apart, and guess what? I'm 14.
Right.
And there it's like, oh, like a slasher movie. People are gonna get like raped with a knife.
Right. Well, her dad probably watches them with her. And that's the difference. Is that
maybe she's just mature for her age and realizes this is all bullshit.
Right.
You know?
And like I said, like he probably would watch the films with her, and so she knew and would explain to her, like, this is not real. Like, this is for fun. You're supposed to watch this and enjoy it and just have a good time.
You get scared.
And probably points out, like, how it's all made. Like, all right, so this is your protagonist. And, like, probably goes through and just educates her about it. And she's, like you said, probably a little mature for her age and was like, let's do it, Mm-hmm. And
both stories are actually pretty similar to me.
Yeah.
Because my parents bought me and my brother a camera for Christmas one year when I think it was in 7th grade, so I want to say I was like 13. We made nothing but like crappy horror movie fan films, like because we made like a Nightmare on Elm Street type of movie. We made a bunch of Friday the 13th rip-offs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you name it. We made video game-based movies. We got laser tag sets that Christmas too. We made like laser tag the movie part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Oh wow, what a franchise!
Yeah, and they're all like really, really, really bad. And my friend Charlie was a skateboarder, so we made like Skate or Die the movie and Skate Hard and all this crazy shit. And my voice hadn't cracked yet, so it was horrible. They're bad. They're bad.
You did it though.
And I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
So it clicked.
Yeah, I think
so I'm excited that there's younger people that want to get into it at that age.
Yeah.
I wasn't alone.
Right. No, it's good when you see any young kid start getting into things like that and art, because kind of like with like music is starting to be a little more acceptable. Like, years ago, parents were like, "No, you didn't get a job, this and that." And now you're just like, "Oh, you want to learn piano? Sure."
Unless your name is Justin Bieber.
Baby, baby, baby.
All right, but like you get these kids, so like hopefully film writing and film directing will start to become one of those things if a kid wants to do it.
And the thing is that I don't think kids realize how much of an undertaking making a film is. I mean, especially if you want to do it seriously and get it right. It's a serious undertaking, and it's a lot of stress, and I'm hoping these kids can handle it.
Yeah. Because
like the Emily Hagen's, like the Pathogen movie she made, that thing took her like months and months and months and months to make. And she's still doing it, so apparently she can. Yeah. So I hope this girl can handle it.
So she's doing it.
Yeah. So.
But, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, we wish you luck.
Give us a copy of it because we want to see it when it's done.
Yeah.
We'll review it for you.
Definitely.
Yes.
Send it to a theater in Chicago. We'll go.
Yeah, send it to the Music Box. We'll tug it.
Yeah.
We'll tug the shit out of it.
They'll host it. That'd be fun.
It's not a gross thing I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it's called Tug.
Tug.
With
Look
2
it up.
Gs.
It's pretty awesome.
2 Gs. Yeah.
We should do that again, by the way.
We should.
Indeed. Hollow.
We're going to.
Make it happen. My nipples are hard. I'm done.
Josh cut off his penis because something came out of my vagina.
Hey, I'm Jake Carr. I was on TOASTY a couple weeks ago promoting my my film Cheap Plastic Mask that I wrote. We're using a website called Seed and Spark to raise funds for our short film, and we exceeded our goal. We raised almost $10,000, which is insanely cool. So super excited about Cheap Plastic Mask. Yeah, I was thinking about some choice Halloween horror watching. Every year I will get together with a bunch of friends and we'll try to marathon something for, I don't know, up to 12 hours, sometimes if we're feeling super ambitious. So I guess when I think about horror at Halloween, I think about like party movie watching or, you know, doing something in a group. So kind of catering my movie choices to that. I don't know if you've ever watched Rec 1 and Rec 2, the Spanish found footage zombie movies. If you've ever watched the two like sandwiched together, they're each about 90 minutes, but it kind of makes for like a Kill Bill thing where separately Rec 1 and Rec 2 are both incredible movies and two of the best found footage movies. I think Rec 2 is one of the best sequels that's come out in a really long time. But 2 picks up the second that the first one ends, and if you're looking to set aside some time to watch movies, it is an incredible 3-hour investment of movie watching. And it really also sort of, when you watch them back to back, highlights how much attention to detail the writer and director put into. I mean, they use the same set and the same actors. Like even the actors playing the zombies from the first film are still cast as the zombies in the second movie, since it kind of all is one long film, even though it was shot separately. So the Rec 1 and 2 combo is a winner. If you're in the mood for something actually scary to watch this year, for Halloween, one of the biggest surprises of the last couple of years for me was the Maniac remake with Elijah Wood. I think the 80s Maniac is a really great example of just like, you know, not quite Grindhouse, but a very gritty, grimy, gross feeling movie. And I think that the Maniac remake with Elijah Wood gets that same grisly sort of tension to it, but the way that the movie is filmed, it's all from the perspective of the killer, so not found footagey, but like if you are seeing the world through the serial killer's eyes. The quick synopsis: it's a maniac who finds women and scalps them. There's not really much more to it than that. That's kind of and deals with a lot of mommy issues. The remake is absurdly violent, like the kind of violence that you very rarely see for a movie with such like a high budget, like a high production budget, and starring Elijah Wood like out of nowhere, who's terrifying as this maniac, like shockingly good in that movie. But the kind for that type of like high budget production, violence and gore that you just rarely see people having the balls to pull off. I mean, kill after kill, it is sickening, and that was a movie that really stuck with me for like, it was definitely the kind of thing where I watched it and felt like I needed to take a shower afterwards, which, I mean, if you're watching a movie about a serial killer who scalps women, like, that kind of should be what you feel like after watching it, but so often that kind of thing pulls its punches or goes straight for like exploitation. But it's a movie that's really committed to telling its horrifying story. And as this man is going about town doing what he's doing, he meets like a lovely young woman, and as they grow closer together, there's this like tension of when the other shoe is going to drop, and when this woman who you really grow to like is what is going to happen with her and this man that we know we are not supposed to be trusting. A lot of fun if you're looking for something that really will like stick to your gut and sort of sucker punch you. For me, Maniac was definitely one of the bigger surprises that I've seen over the last couple years. I really love a slasher movie from a couple years ago called Stitches, which is on Netflix right now. It's an Irish slasher about a zombie clown, which, aside from being amazing, you'll come for the zombie clown and stay for like incredibly inventive kill scenes. It's a sort of throwback to 80s slashers. I would say like supernatural slashers like Freddy circa Dream Warriors, right when Freddy started cracking wise and spitting out his one-liners. Stitches is, I think, one of like contemporary wise, one of the best things to do that sort of 80s slasher vibe. When these kids are little at a birthday party, they pull a prank on the clown that's been hired for their party and kill him, and like flash forward to one of their, I forget if he's turning 16 or 18, but flash forward to when the little kids are now like teenagers in a perfect like slasher movie group. They all get together for this kid's birthday party again, and of course the clown Stitches that they killed comes back from the dead. It is a ton of fun. Great writing, a super funny cast. Like, part of it just plays as a really fun teen, like high school teen comedy, and but it's the kills, like sort of in like the 80s style. It's themed kills, so they don't just like slap a clown in there. Like, they follow through the clown motif all the way. Like, I don't know, without getting too much, obviously spoiling anything, like balloon animals and pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and like all of the clown tropes are turned into incredibly creative kill sequences with just like outstanding practical effects. So Stitches, if you have any affinity for like Freddy Krueger when he was at his best mix of like villain and humor and didn't become like a joke machine later on down the line, Stitches is killer. The only thing that would stand next to actually Halloween for me is Trick or Treat. I know that Chris is not a big Trick or Treat fan, which is very stupid of him, but I think that Trick or Treat is fucking amazing. If you don't know what it is, it's an anthology horror film from maybe 5-ish years ago. Had a budget and a cast and like a crew of named people. Was supposed to get a theatrical release, racked up a bunch of hype during the festival tour, kept not getting released, and then eventually was just like shoveled onto DVD maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Kind of got denied, I think, the theatrical release that it totally deserved. But it's an anthology film following up, maybe I think it's like 5 stories centered in this like Ohio town of people that are obsessed with Halloween. And I think, something that you run into with an anthology film is that inevitably some stories are so much more interesting than the others, and you're kind of like wading through the slow ones to get back to the good stories. But I think it knocks it out of the park from beginning to end and really goes through it's so Halloween centric, going through like all the traditions of Halloween and turning them into awesome short stories. So like the idea of like following family customs and the idea of wearing a costume to present yourself in a different way, local urban legends, even the idea of trick-or-treating, like all of the things that make Halloween such a special holiday are just really keenly observed by the writer-director, and it's just a blast. And it's told in a Pulp Fiction-y way of all the stories intersecting with each other. I've probably seen it upwards of 15 times, and I still pick out like little tiny details of crossovers between the stories. I think it's an immensely impressive movie. Chris is completely wrong about it. One of my favorite movies that's of any genre that's come out in the last decade. But I think Trick or Treat is like essential Halloween watching, especially. And if you've only seen it once, like watch it again and start picking up on like the crossovers between all the stories. And I think that movie is just like as close to a perfect movie as you can get, which I know that I may not be followed up with him on that, but I've never watched that movie with somebody who, wasn't head over heels for it. So for me, yeah, Trick or Treat kills it.
I hate Halloween.
One last Halloween recommendation. A little gem from a couple years ago that really is like sort of a little love letter to horror fans. It's called Behind the Mask: Rise of Leslie Vernon. Super fun movie that actually definitely laid the foundation for things like Cabin in the Woods. It's not the first movie to deconstruct the horror genre, but I think it does it in a really interesting way. It's a mockumentary about a film crew that's following around an up-and-coming serial killer, or the film takes place in a world where, like, Michael Myers is real, and Jason Voorhees is real, etc., and this guy wants to be the next iconic serial killer, so he hires a film crew to follow him around as he preps, like, a cabin in the woods for, like, the weekend when he's going, and, like, as he picks out the teenagers that he's going to, like, lure to this cabin in the woods. So you're watching as this film crew sort of, like, deconstructs all of, like, the tropes of slasher movies from the perspective of the killer, like, planning things out. Even, like, really fun little details that you can tell that the filmmakers clearly love the genre. Like, he's doing a ton of cardio, and he's explaining it as, like, yeah, man, it's really, you have to work out a ton to walk really fast and catch up with people that are sprinting ahead of you, but all you can do is walk, but somehow still find a way to catch up with them. It takes a lot of cardio. So even, like, little fun little details like that. Yeah, if especially if you're a fan of, it's like every scene has about 15 Easter eggs in it. So if you're a fan of, like, the big iconic horror villains, Behind the Mask is a really fun, like, deconstruction of, like, yeah, like, horror villainy, and ton of fun, and I think a movie that never got the credit that it deserved for a tiny budgeted film. But yeah, love Behind the Mask. I have a horror blog where I write about and review movies. Lovehatehorror.blogspot.com, and yeah.
Halloween, which is, I believe, 90% of the people in America's favorite holiday.
It's fun.
It's fun. Go with it. Go to do it.
Seriously, it's fun.
So, what we want to talk about are some scary video games.
We've done the movies already. Let's do the games.
Let's game it up.
Yeah.
One of the most popular horror games, especially of our generation, well, of any generation, because our generation was the first to really get this type of game, is Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil. I remember playing this on PlayStation and being scared to play it by myself at night on the weekends in my room, so I always had the light on or had a friend over to play with us. Never really dealt with a game that had the music, the intense surrounding and the graphic to where you didn't know what was going to come jumping out of the door, and it was it's definitely one of the video games of any genre that's always stuck with me, and that
it changed a lot of things in the video game industry, which is, I always thought was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, after this, like, horror games became like a thing.
Resident Evil.
And then the second, because 2 follows 1. So,
Yeah, see, that's just the way numbers work.
Yeah.
But this one I thought was even better
Yeah.
than the first one, because not only do is there more of what made the first one so cool, but they made the graphics better, the story was better. You had 2 characters you can play as, and each one had their own, storyline. They kind of intersected every once in a while.
Yeah, I definitely thought this one was harder.
Yeah.
Much harder. Because I thought that was fucking hard. Then you threw this in. It took me hours just to get done with the first 10-15 minutes of that.
It took me about a week, I think, to beat the first one. It took me about 2 to beat the second one. But yeah, those games are the shit. Yeah, I haven't played the 6th one yet, and that's the one everyone complains about.
Yeah.
But it can't be that bad.
No, I mean...
One of my favorite horror movies is John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. And when they had announced that Universal was going to make a sequel to The Thing in video game form, I was kind of skeptical, I guess. Movie license games never really work out. I mean, rarely do they ever end up being pretty good. But I bought it anyway when it came out. It came out for the PS2 and the Xbox. And I bought it for the Xbox, and here it is. And holy shit, did this game end up freaking the living crap out of me. It takes place after the movie. Another team comes to investigate the site where, McCready and everybody else, was attacked by that alien that was impersonating everybody. And it turns into like this really tense psychological type of horror game where you don't know if any of the members of your team have been taken over by the creature also, because you do find out that the creature had not died after McCready blew up the installation. It's really, really cool. It's really gory. It's really tense. I liked it a lot. It's a fucked up game. It really is. I was surprised that they nailed the mood of the movie really, really well in here. Voice acting is not too great. I remember that much, but I remember it being really rad. And I do need to sit down and play this again, but I need an Xbox to do that.
Yeah. Alan Wake's a really good one. If you like there's not a lot of like battles in it, but
you attack people with your flashlight.
Yeah, but it's a really cool story and story game.
And the way it's set up is, I think, what I liked the most, because it was set up like episodes of a TV show.
Yeah. And
you would finish like a chapter, and it would be like, next time on Alan Wake, and they would show you like a preview of what was going to happen in the next chapter.
Yeah.
And it was I called out of work to finish that game. I got so into it, like over the course of like a week, I got so into it. I actually wanted to beat the game so much, I was just kind of like, yeah, you know what, I'm not going into work today because I just want to beat this damn thing.
Yeah, it didn't get talked about a lot, but it got a lot of attention,
yeah. But no one really bought it. Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those games that you're like, well, the name of the game doesn't really tell you what the game is about,
right? And
I think that puts people off. That's the same with like Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just kind of like, what does that have to do with monsters?
Yeah.
Wake up.
We're both big fans of the Evil Dead series. They put out quite a few video games for it, starting I think with PlayStation, right?
Yeah, it came out. The first one came out for the PlayStation. So,
but none of them were really that great.
Yeah. Evil Dead: Hail to the King.
Bruce Campbell did take part in all of them though,
which is rad.
Which is fun and good for him. Good.
It even says on the back, best of all, Bruce Campbell as Ash is one of the highlights.
Yeah, and the jokes were Ash jokes, and if you're a fan of the movies and the series, you will enjoy the games, but they're not that great.
Yeah, they try to be Resident Evil, but they're not Resident Evil.
Yeah.
There was a lot of games in this series. There's Hail to the King, Evil Dead: Hail to the King for the Dreamcast, and then they came out with Fistful of Boomstick. That was the second one, and then there was Regeneration, which was the third one. That's when we get that little dwarfy zombie sidekick guy, which was lame as all hell. Yeah. Fistful of Boomstick I remember being okay. That was like probably my favorite one out of them all. That was the one that felt the most like an Evil Dead game.
Yeah.
But they all have that Army of Darkness sense of humor though, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I mean they're cool, but they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you aren't a fan of it and pick up play it, you'll break it and burn the game.
Yeah.
As a fan, you can get a little something out of it.
Yeah. They're cool.
Groovy.
Like when the PlayStation first came out, there weren't really a whole lot of games available that I wanted to play. And then this came out, and I really got into it. I bought it because it looked kind of interesting. It was a horror game. I think this came out before Resident Evil. And I played it, and I brought it over to a friend's house, and we stayed up all night playing this damn thing, and we beat it, but holy shit, is it a ride and a half. Ended up coming out for not only PlayStation, but it came out for the Saturn, and it also came out for the 3DO, which is the version I have because it has the best graphics. It's called D. I'm not going to tell you what the D stands for. That's part of the story. It's fucked up. You're this girl who...
Fights big penises.
No. Oh. Yes, deeks. You play as this girl whose father was a doctor, and he went like crazy at a hospital and like murdered a bunch of people. And she wants to know why her dad did this, and investigates and finds that there's like this castle that he had gone to, and she goes to this castle to investigate, and it turns into this real weird survival horror type of scenario. But it's not done. It's in a first-person view, but you don't control it like a first-person shooter. You don't have free reign. Basically, it's all pre-rendered graphics. And you point to where you want to go, and the computer will tell you if you can go that way or not. And basically, then you'll have like this little cutscene that'll show your character going in that direction. Then you can investigate things on each screen. It's kind of like Myst, I guess, but like this really creepy, fucked up, gory version of Myst. And there's puzzles to solve. There's not really enemies to fight, stuff like that. But there's fucked up, grotesque stuff going on that it got us pretty good back in the day when we were playing this. It is messed up. It is a super creepy storyline. But they made a sequel to this called D2 that has nothing to do with this game. It came out for the Dreamcast. It has the same character that you play as in this one, but it has nothing to do with this game at all. It doesn't even like act like this game exists. It's awesome. It is really creepy. It's effective. The music is pretty cool. The graphics, are supremely dated by now because like the main character, whenever you see her hair looks like it's made out of plastic strands. And there's really no emotion on their faces. I mean, they may go, but that's about all they do. It's dated as hell, but it is really, really fun. It's really creative and cool and creepy. So I highly recommend this one. It's an effed up game. You need to try it if you can.
DF'd.
Whoa.
You tried to scare Josh again, didn't you?
Shut up.
Too bad you're crazy. Too bad you're loony as hell. So long, it could have been swell together. Too bad you're wacko.
Wacko.
How sad your marbles are gone.
All gone.
We could be dancing till dawn, but you're too weird for words.
It's completely weird. Fuck you, thing! You gotta steal my flavor. I gotta waste my flavor.